Arsenal have just demolished Brighton 4-2 away from home in a thrilling game. We couldn't have asked for a better way to end off 2022. This game was defined by Arsenal's ability to be effective without the ball, just 32% possession this game, Brighton's poor decision-making in possession, and Arsenal's versatility in attack. Now, before we analyze this game, I just want to share that while I'm a huge Man United fan, I love watching and analyzing big teams across the top 5 leagues. So if you watch any of these teams, please come back to the channel to check out my analysis of their biggest games this season, including in the UCL. And while I have you, please subscribe to the channel so I can keep doing what I love. Let's get into it. Arsenal started out in a 4-3-3 with Ben White at right back, Zinchenko at left back, and Nketiah at striker instead of the injured Jesus. But in possession, they play a 3-4-3 with Zinchenko stepping into midfield. And I want to highlight two tactically versatile players that make this Arsenal team tick. The first one is Martin Odegaard, and the second one is Zinchenko. Zinchenko, being in the midfield area that he is in, allows him to play in these inside spaces, which allows Gabriel Martinelli to be really high and wide on the left-hand side. You'll often see him be on the touchline and Zinchenko operating in this space, maybe at the edge of the box to provide that extra body in this area. So they're creating overloads here with Xhaka helping in as needed, which makes it really difficult for the other team to defend the left-hand side or the other team's right-hand side. Because Zinchenko's on the inside spaces on the left-hand side, Odegaard doesn't have to worry about that area anymore. He can focus on covering the right-hand side and central area, so helping Saka and Nketiah link up the play with them and use Xhaka as needed on both sides. And this is what really makes it a nightmare for the defending team to play against, because they can create overloads all over the pitch in attacking areas. On the right-hand side, they have Odegaard, Saka, Nketiah, and Xhaka helping as needed. On the left-hand side, they have Nketiah, Zinchenko, Martinelli, and Xhaka helping as needed. So the versatility of Zinchenko stepping into midfield and the ability of Odegaard to really link up play all across the front line really makes it easy for Arsenal to create goals. And that's why they have so many different goal scorers, right? They're not relying on one outlet, not one single pattern of play to create the goals that they scored this season. Before we analyze how Arsenal will win the league this season, let's look at why they've been so good. Why are they top of the league 7 points ahead of Man City? While they have plenty of individual brilliance across the front line with Nketiah and Jesus, Saka, Martinelli, and Odegaard, they don't rely on it. What they rely on is consistent patterns of play all over the pitch, knowing where to be and when your teammates will be there, and good decision making on the ball. They always find the right pass to a teammate in space, and key to that is the midfield, because Odegaard, Xhaka, Partey, and Zinchenko all know how to make those short passes and get into the right space after you play the ball. The middle four really enable the team to function by consistently making the right decisions. So these four players here have shown great mental fortitude to get through difficult games and difficult moments in games. And I feel like Arsenal can beat any team they face by just focusing on doing the right thing at the right time. And obviously, Arteta deserves massive credit for everything he's done with this project, right? 2 consecutive 8th place finishes, and he's been given a lot of time by the board, but he has done something special with it. And this is a young team that looks like they could be great for the next 3, 4, 5 years. Odegaard is hands down the most important player and was today's man of the match for me, because he consistently takes care of the ball and leads from the front as their captain. He always finds the right pass. He had 1 goal, 1 assist, 3 chances created, 0.83 XG and XA combined, and a game-high 46 touches in a game where they only had 32% possession, right? And 4 progressive passes as well. So very impressed by Odegaard and the way he's performing. And now we get to exactly why they'll win the league. When you see them talking pre-match and post-match, they are genuinely taking it one game at a time. I feel like they're also handling social media and external pressures really well, and they're scoring lots of goals with different goal scorers. And for a team that doesn't have the best squad in the league, these are all the things you need to actually win the league. And so very impressive from Arteta, and let's see what they could do by the end of the season. Obviously, things are going really well for Arsenal at the moment, and they are 7 points ahead of Man City in second place. But we're only 16 games into the season. There are still 22 games left to play, and a lot can happen in that time. So let's talk about some of the reasons why Arsenal may not win the league this season. And starting with, they don't have as deep a squad as Man City or even Newcastle. I think they're fine in defense and attacking areas, but their midfield is the biggest concern. The cover for Xhaka and Partey are El Neni and Sambi Lokonga, obviously nowhere near the level of the starting players. The cover for Odegaard is Fabio Vieira, who's good, but he's not as good as Odegaard, right? He doesn't hold that team together like the glue that Odegaard is. If they face 1 or 2 injuries in midfield, they will really struggle to control games like they currently do. And specifically, if Odegaard gets injured or even a Zinchenko getting injured, they will really struggle because Tierney doesn't provide that same cover in midfield that Zinchenko can. And it's also important to remember that Arsenal are not Man City. They are not going to win the league with 100 points, scoring 3 goals every game and keeping a clean sheet every week. They have more similarities with Liverpool in that they play a frantic, fast-paced football, pressing high, forcing the other team to make errors and capitalizing on those errors, like the first goal today versus Brighton, which came after only 60 seconds. So they will consistently win games 4-2, 3-1, 2-1, and maybe even a draw here or there, which is 1-1 or 2-2 or something crazy like that. So to keep getting over the line every week, they will need this midfield forward to stay intact. Okay, if one of them misses the odd 3 or 4 games, I think that's probably easier to adjust to. But if they get injured for an extended period of time, that'll be very difficult for Arteta to recover from. Critics of my argument might say, Jesus was our most important player up till he got injured, but look at Nketiah and how well he's doing. Yes, you have to give Arteta full credit for doing that. But can he do that for the other positions, right? Just because you've done it once doesn't mean it'll keep happening again and again. If you're an Arsenal fan, your best bet is to hope that these 4 guys are wrapped in cotton wool and don't get injured till the end of the season. And if that happens, Arsenal will win the league. Let's touch on Brighton really quickly before we get into closing thoughts. They started in a 4-2-3-1 but played a 2-1-4-3 with both fullbacks stepping into midfield and Pascal Gross playing as the second 8 next to Lallana. I'm really impressed by what this club can do in terms of their recruitment and in terms of their playstyle because in both senses they have less than someone like Man City, but they still try to play like Man City. They had 68% possession in this game against a team like Arsenal who are leading in the league. I think De Zerbi's doing a good job. He obviously hasn't had a lot of time yet, and I have faith in him to get it right. But if Brighton want to play like Man City and get into the top 4 or something like that eventually, with a team like this, they really need to stop making silly errors, and I'm sure that will come with time as these players progress. So let's see what happens with them. In closing thoughts, I just want to re-emphasize how good Arsenal looked in this game and how good they have been this season. To win 4-2 away from home at Brighton is not easy. Just look at how Brighton were almost able to get back into the game because of their quality more than Arsenal's errors at the back. Considering that Arsenal have not spent insane money like other clubs on individual players, it is very impressive to be top of the league 7 points ahead of City. And when you can make someone like Pep Guardiola sweat, you are doing something right. And believe me, he is sweating in private at how good Arsenal are playing this season, regardless of how he looks on the pitch or talks in the media about the title race. So credit to Arteta, credit to these players for getting behind him, and let's see if Arsenal can win the league. I'm a Man United fan, and it sucks to see them be so good, but to be honest, I'll be happy for them if they do it, because it's been a while since Man United and Arsenal have both been good at the same time, and I would love to get back to those days. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.